What is up, nerd and nerdettes of the interwebs? It's Mr. Brady Jones here, and back again, by my side as always, Senor Adam. Senor Adam.
Yep.
I got it right.
Yeah.
Senor. I changed it.
It's not senor.
It's Senor?
It's senor.
Oh, I got it right the first time.
It's basic Spanish. Vowel sounds don't change.
I told you, I took 3 years of Spanish in high school, and I forgot everything the second I graduated.
That's not good.
It's not good. In fact, it's terrible, but I told you this. Can't even remember.
I took those same 3 years and I'm minoring in Spanish.
Yes, because you're smart. Everything went out of my brain to make room for stuff about comic books and Star Wars, because that is where my true priorities lie.
Even though it doesn't really have anything to do with college for you.
Nope. Alright, let's continue.
Yeah.
Alright, we are here to talk about Solo Star Wars story. This is the second spin-off away from the main saga.
Anthology film is what they're officially
That's what
calling
they're
them.
called?
Anthology.
Okay. Anthology films.
Mm-hmm.
It's the second one, and as the name suggests, it is a movie about Han Solo.
And if you don't know that, you probably shouldn't be watching this review.
Alright, we are throwing out a big fat spoiler warning if you haven't seen the movie, and we are going to get into heavy spoilers as we talk about this movie, which we are going to start doing right now. That sounded funny.
Speaking of the humor falling flat.
Right. Let's talk about the positives before we talk about the negatives. First positive, and probably the biggest positive, is Donald Glover as Lando.
Yeah, that was spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, when Lando first shows up in the movie, I thought it was Billy D. Williams. He was that good.
The stuff between Han and Chewie, that was the best stuff from...
Alden Ehrenreich?
Yeah. Alden Ehrenreich? Yeah. That was his best stuff when he was portraying Han, was when he was with Chewie.
Yeah.
Because that felt like genuinely Han and Chewie's relationship.
Yeah.
I liked when they met. Did you like when they met?
Yeah, I felt it made a lot of sense, too.
What did you think about Han speaking Wookiee? Wookieeanese.
We already knew that he did.
Yeah, but he's
I mean,
never
he could at least
actually...
understand it.
Yeah, but he never spoke it.
Yeah, it actually took me a second to figure out that he was doing that because he was kind of choking him into the mud. I thought he was just gurgling. And he suddenly stops and he's like, oh, okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. He speaks Wookiee, so he can talk Wookiee.
I forget what.
Does this mean Chewbacca's going to speak English now?
No, Chewbacca's not going to speak English, but he understands it.
Can Wookiee speak other languages besides Wookieeanese?
I don't know. I need to find out what the Wookiee language is.
I'm just calling it Wookieeanese. It's probably just called Wookiee.
Okay, so there's 3 different languages that the Wookiee speak. There's Shiriwook, also known as Wookiee speak.
It's close. Wookieeanese, Wookiee speak, close enough.
Mm-hmm. And it's the main trade languages of the Wookiees. Thikaran, I don't know. A dialect of Shiriwook spoken by Kashyyyk natives, and Zaxik is a language spoken on the Wartaki Islands of Kashyyyk.
Point number 3, I guess. Darth Maul is in the movie.
Spoilers.
See? We already said spoilers. There's one giant spoiler at the beginning. Darth Maul.
And contrary to my uncle's opinion, that does not mean that this movie took place before Episode 1. It still takes place between Episodes 3 and Rogue One. Darth Maul's been alive for 6 years, people.
I know Sam Witwer is voicing him, which is nice. I like Sam Witwer. He's a nice guy. He's the Star Wars champion on the Schmodown, at least for now.
Yep. He should be.
He won and
he's actually in Star Wars, so he should know.
He won.
Because he lived the Star Wars. He lived it.
He lived it, Ted. He lived the Star Wars. But no, they did like what they called an Iron Man match. It was like 30 minutes of non-stop Star Wars questions. Whoever got the most points won the title, and he won. It was pretty impressive.
That was in the rematch?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
It was pretty impressive.
Not bad.
So you should check that out on Collider YouTube channel. Click that out. Check that out. It's real cool.
Plus, it's also cool because he was Starkiller in Force Unleashed. Good games.
Yeah. But yeah, Darth Maul's in it. He does his fancy 2-bladed lightsaber thing. You just see it for a second.
It's kind of a weird
He has
thing.
robotic legs now, obviously, because he got cut
We
in
all
half.
knew that.
Not everybody knows that.
Everyone watching this video knows that, even though I did just rant about people not knowing it.
Exactly. When I first saw it, I wasn't sure it was Darth Maul. I thought it was just somebody from Darth Maul's race.
I knew it. Actually, my first thought was Darth Vader when they show the back, and like his legs looked like they may have been just. I mean, Darth Vader has robotic legs too, but they could seem like they could have been. But then I thought maybe it's the Emperor. But then I heard the voice. It's like, where have I heard that voice? And then I finally realized that it's Darth Maul. Long before they actually showed his face.
I think they still used Ray Park. It's either Park or Park. I think it's just one singular Park. I think they still use his face model though.
And he's no longer Darth Maul, just so y'all know.
He's not Darth Maul. He's just Maul.
He's just Maul.
Okay.
He was never Darth Maul in Clone Wars.
I barely watched any of the Clone Wars.
They're on Netflix. That's your own fault.
I think they took them off.
No, they're all on.
They're still on there?
They're still on there.
Oh, I thought they.
And I own every season. You can still borrow them.
I haven't gotten around to seeing the show.
You can
And
probably.
I really haven't seen Rebels yet.
You can avoid season 6. It was bad.
Avoid season 6. Got it.
Yeah.
Understood.
You need to watch Rebels though. Rebels is good.
I will once Disney gets their streaming service up and running. Han and Lando, they were good, especially in that super gambling scene.
Yep. I want to learn how to play Sabacc now.
Both gambling scenes, I might add.
Mm-hmm. And the inclusion of Han,
Yes,
not Han.
Han and Lando. My bad.
Yeah.
I misspoke. What else?
You can say all you want about Alden Ehrenreich not doing a great Han Solo. I think he did a decent job.
He didn't do a very good job. That's the only parts that he was good at was when he was interacting with Chewie and Lando.
I still think he did a good. My main complaint is that his voice was too gravelly the whole time, which it makes sense for a character like Han, but he wasn't quite the suave, smirky guy that we see in Episode 4, which you can attribute some of that to just being that he's not the same character as he is in Episode 4. Maybe he gets some of that later in the Solo sequel, which will happen.
Eventually, yes.
Yeah. But you can say what you want about him not being great, but no movie has ever made me want to be Han Solo as much as this one.
No movie has ever made me want to be Han Solo.
That's your own fault.
Just saying, I'd much rather be a Luke Skywalker or a Darth Vader.
Well, I would too.
Or an Emperor Palpatine.
I'd rather be Han than Palpatine.
I wouldn't. Han's life is sad.
You really don't like Han, do you?
It's not that I don't
So
like
Palpatine has a happy life?
Well, he's got all that power. Han's just
That means nothing.
Han's just got a ship and a best friend. You need more than that in life.
He has the Millennium Falcon and a Wookiee.
Yeah. A ship and a best friend.
Yeah.
Emperor Palpatine's got all the power in the world, and he's got the entire galaxy at his fingertips. And lightning at his fingertips.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd rather be Palpatine.
You're an idiot. Alright, next.
You're so mean to me.
You're mean to Han Solo.
I never got into Han Solo that much. Wow. Well,
Some people.
that was not the character I gravitated towards.
I didn't gravitate towards Han either, but he's still a great character.
He's alright. He's got a nice story arc.
He's a great character.
Character arc.
He's a great character.
He's alright.
He's a great character.
Wasn't my cup of tea.
He's a great character.
Not my
They
cup
don't
of
have
tea.
tea in Star Wars.
Not my cup of whatever blue milk that
Blue
is.
milk.
That,
Or green milk in Episode 8.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Moving on.
That scene has messed me up for life. Anyway.
That whole movie's messed us up for
Yeah.
life.
Anyway, number 5, use of the Millennium Falcon. I like the Falcon. I like the Falcon in it. Yeah, I liked when Han was basically up against Nest. What is the first part?
Infus Nest.
Infus Nest. And it was basically like, yo, I got an entire army on that ship, and all I gotta do is snap my fingers, and they'll come running, and then the ship takes off.
That was a Han Solo moment.
That was the most Han Solo-y thing in the entire movie.
Will you stop trashing Han Solo?
I'm not trashing Han Solo.
Yes, you are.
I am That was the most Han Solo-y thing in the movie. How was that trash?
It sounded like you were trashing it.
No.
Okay.
I'm trashing whoever wrote this movie. I'm trashing Opie. I'm trashing Kathleen Kennedy.
Don't trash Ron Howard. Ron Howard probably made it better from what it was going to be.
Probably not.
He's a great director.
He's a puppet by Kathleen Kennedy, who was there to take a payday and do whatever Kathleen Kennedy wanted him to do.
Okay, probably true, but it was probably better than what Lord and Miller would have done.
Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they just had their own independent thinking. My opinion is that it was going to be funnier, because this movie is not fun. That's one of my negatives. The movie is not funny. Lord and Miller know how to make funny movies, right? Han Solo is a funny character. He's witty, and he's sarcastic.
He wasn't quite as funny as
right? A lot of the humor fell flat, and I think it was because Lord and Miller got kicked off, because they would have made a actually entertaining, fun movie. That's my opinion. Plus, Ron Howard made like the most boringest movie of all time in, what was it, Tale of the Heart. It was like with Chris Hemsworth, and it is like the most boring movie of all time. It is like a bunch of guys searching for a whale in the ocean.
You've never seen a foreign film?
I don't like to
In
read.
the Heart of the Sea?
Yeah.
I never saw that. It looks good.
I don't like to read my movies.
It looks like Moby Dick.
Yeah, basically. And no, I don't watch foreign films. I don't like to read my movies.
Okay. So you don't like Passion of the Christ?
That's the only one.
So you do like to read some movies?
Yes, just one movie. That's because I know basically what they're all saying.
You know, only Sith deals in absolutes.
Okay. Okay, Obi-Wan. Is that an absolute?
Maybe.
Okay. Anyway, it's number 6. I like Kira. She was cool, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to think of as many positives as I can say about my positives, but it's really hard. Kira was okay. She was nice. She didn't make me mad. It was a very, like, kind of Games of Thrones character, which is funny because that's what the actress is known for, is Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It's very much like someone who's playing the game, trying to get ahead through intellect and politics and stuff, so found that interesting. Han fighting for the Empire makes sense. He doesn't like the Empire, so having a reason to hate them, which I'll get into more later, makes sense. And number 8, and I think the most important thing that this movie gave it, one of the most important things that this movie gave us, is once and for all, Han shot first.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to the negatives, biggest negative for me in the entire movie was L3.
Yeah.
L3 took away so much.
Yeah.
It was a droid, and the moment I knew I hate this character and I hate everything this character stands
is
for.
when you first see her.
No, it's not when you first see her.
Oh.
It's the line where I think Lando was like going to get something to drink or something to eat.
Yeah, so
And
you need anything?
Do you need anything? Equal rights. It's like, nope, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I hope you die in a fire explosion.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well, you knew she was going to because she was the pilot.
She got ripped in half, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I wish it was a little worse, but, you know.
Well, she got shot several times, then ripped in half.
Yeah, so it's fine. And along with L3 came her obvious allegories. I use the word allegory loosely because you kind of have to be subtle when you're doing an allegory.
No, allegories aren't necessarily. Allusions are more subtle. This was definitely a direct allegories are a little more direct.
Okay, fine. I failed English. You happy?
No, you're correct in using allegory. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, fine. I didn't fail English. I got a C.
You
Happy?
did. You were right this time.
Okay, I got a C in English. Right? Yeah. Obvious allegories to feminism, which, yay, we're getting that in Star Wars now.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
There's a little bit that had to do with like human trafficking, which is completely fine to raise awareness about that.
Yeah.
But still, a lot of the field just seemed feminist, and it was annoying.
Yeah. Maybe it wouldn't have been so bad if, like, the voice actor for L3 wasn't a female.
Yeah.
But, I mean, knowing Ron
An
Howard...
annoying female, too. She was an outspoken, annoying female.
Knowing...
As a softer voice.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Knowing Kathleen Kennedy and Opie, you can just tell that it's very feminist. And I'm going to refer to Ron Howard as Opie from now on.
Because you discovered after 10 years that Ronnie Howard is Opie?
Well, not just that, but I like to think of him in his better days.
Okay, yeah. He was still good in Happy Days, too.
I haven't seen Happy Days.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
I just know the Fonz.
It's a good show.
Ayy. Pansexual Lando.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting into now. Alright. First of all, don't mess with our characters.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to make Lando pansexual, make another character pansexual. Because I'm not going to complain that it's happening, because I know it's going to happen and it's gonna happen no matter what. You know, you're gonna get.
I'll complain
I'm
that it's
messing
happening,
up
but
the camera
You are.
by touching this.
Yeah.
Right. It's gonna happen eventually. There's no amount of complaining, no amount of writing Star Wars is gonna change it, because the SJWs are gonna write and yell louder than we are.
Yeah. I'll still complain about it.
You can complain, but it's gonna happen one way or another. So I don't want to waste my breath being like, oh, you know, why is all this happening? The fact is that you're not making anybody happy right now when you just in an interview that most people aren't gonna see be like, oh, by the way, Lando, he's a pansexual now. Pansexual, for those of you who don't know, basically means that they're attracted to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you ask me, it's just a fancy term for bisexual. They wanted to come up with their own new word.
Well, they were trying to indicate some sort of relationship between Lando and L3.
Because if you go with the original, like...
Which, that makes a little more sense. You're talking about, like, Blade Runner sort of robots, but
yeah.
These are Star Wars
Like,
robots.
I mean, that's not...
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It's not the worst thing in the world, in my mind, because female robot, I guess.
It's not really a female robot.
It's got...
It just has a female voice.
And
Parts of its robot body look like female anatomy. That's basically it.
Well, it's close enough to a female.
Which actually makes a little more sense that Lando is... Yeah, okay, whatever. We'll just skip all this.
The thing that I don't like
We're at 25 minutes.
is that you are not going to make anybody happy by saying he's a pansexual, but not doing it in the movie, because people who don't want him to be anything but straight are going to be upset that he's a pansexual, and people who want him to be a pansexual, or the SJWs, are going to be upset that it wasn't in the movie.
Yeah. Well, it's the way of easing it in there, because there wasn't enough in there that if you didn't know anything about the fact they were going to make him that way, you wouldn't notice it.
Yeah.
But if you know that he's supposed to be, then you can see a few subtle hints that he is, so that you can still say, oh, okay, he really is. And you're not going to, aside from the fact that you're announcing it's going to happen, you're not going to have a whole bunch of complaints or riots that they were making him outspokenly pansexual or anything. Then you can start leading it into other characters are going to be more outspoken in that area, and eventually you're just going to...
But even when I saw the movie, knowing that the writers had said that, like, I didn't pick up on anything.
No, there really wasn't. Because I wasn't really thinking so much pansexual, because they said that he was going to be bi.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really anything that indicated that. There was a couple of scenes maybe, but...
I mean, pansexual is a fancy way of saying bi, in my opinion.
Not really.
It is.
It's a different way of saying something else.
Okay.
They're all complicated.
Yeah. Anyway, alright. Now, this is one that we disagree on. Number 4, Solo.
Oh, yeah.
This is one that we disagree on, and it is the name Solo. How he got the name Solo. I think he should have just been born with the name Solo. Like, that's just...
It's too much of a coincidence name.
He has a son whose name is Solo. Becomes his family name, is Solo.
Yeah.
It should just be his family name.
It is his family name.
No, it's a name that's just given to him.
Because he doesn't have a family.
Okay, then give him a family. You can simply fix that with just a little bit of writing. Because this is an important thing.
Then it becomes too much of a stereotypical Disney movie.
What, that he has?
That the parents die. Every Disney movie, the parents die.
Okay.
Which his parents were actually already dead, so it's still a Disney movie. But if you make it clear that he's... Which actually they already did talk about his family anyway.
Yeah, so... And the fact is, the idea that he is Solo, he is not alone. He is alone for, like, a few minutes in this entire movie. And the entire time you see him in Star Wars, he is alone for a few minutes.
And one of those minutes where he's alone is where he gets the name.
Exactly.
Which makes sense because he's alone.
For, like, 2 minutes between 4, 5, 6, 7, and Solo. He's alone for like a few minutes, right? And so they give him the name Solo. It doesn't make sense.
They're not giving him the name Solo because of all the stuff that he does in 4, 5, 6, 7.
I know
Solo. They're giving him the name Solo because he is alone at that moment and he does not have a people. Regardless of whether you think he has a family or not in the past, he has no people in Solo. He is not a part of a group of people aside from the group of criminal street rats that he's a part of on Corellia. So he has no people. That is the purpose of
But
a
he
name.
does
Of a
have-
family. That is the purpose of a family name, is to say what people you're with. He's not with people, and it just makes sense that he
But
would get
that's
the name
wrong.
Solo.
But that's wrong. He is with people. Like I said, he is only alone for 2 minutes.
Who are his people?
Kira is his girlfriend.
What's her name?
Kira?
So he's Han Kira.
Exactly.
That's a first name.
Okay, Hanra. Happy?
No.
All right. Then but they are doing this after they know everything else that has happened.
Uh-huh.
All right. That is when they're talking about this. The rest of his life, he is with somebody, a la Chewie, or Beckett and his group, or Leia, or his son, or Luke, or somebody. So those are his people, and I know he hasn't gotten those people yet. But it's the idea that just his whole name, so like he just keeps the name Solo his entire life.
But his only other people are the people he's trying to get away
Why
from.
didn't he take the name Organa then?
He doesn't know any Organas.
His wife?
We're
Or
talking about
girlfriend?
Solo here.
I know. Why didn't he take the name Organa later on? Because
Because that was back in a time when it was normal for the woman to take on the name.
This is a galaxy far away. They do not
Then why
attach
didn't-
yourselves to our societal norms.
But if you're saying that you shouldn't stick with the names that someone else assigns you, then Leia shouldn't be an Organa. She should be a Skywalker. Therefore, Han should be a Skywalker
That's different
too.
because she grew up with her family. Though,
He grew up solo.
Are you saying
Han grew up solo.
we don't know that?
We do.
We don't know that. We just know that he was solo for a few minutes because he was with Kira. The first time we see him is with Kira.
First time we see him, he's alone.
Yeah, for like what 30 seconds. Then he's with Kira. He's still dating Kira.
For another 30 seconds.
He's still with. Okay, it's more than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like 20 minutes. All right, and you don't know. He could have a brother out there on the planet. He
They
could
would have
have.
mentioned that.
He could. Maybe not.
They would have mentioned that.
I'm just telling you. There's a new Solo movie coming out. And it's gonna be Han's brother, Thawne. I don't like the name.
He's not so... You're saying you don't like the name Han Solo.
I
The
like the name
character
Han.
that has been his character name for 40 years.
I don't like how he got the name.
Okay.
It's not that I don't like the name.
And it's
The
not...
name is
They're not
fine.
saying solo because he's never with people. He is a solo person. He's not conforming to a group. Like, it's...
Except his whole thing is that he wants to be part of a group.
No, he doesn't.
The
He wa-
Empire, or he wants to be with Beckett.
He
Those
wants
are
to be.
groups.
He wants to be on his own with Kira. That's
That's
not
a group.
No, that is one other person.
Heh, close enough to a group.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
If I play The Sims right now and I go on a date, that is looked at as a group activity.
So you're basing Star Wars off of The Sims now.
Yes, I am.
That is.
You can dress your characters up like Yoda, Darth Vader, and Luke and Leia in The Sims. So I'm basing it off that.
You didn't say Han Solo
You can't be as Han. You can't dress them up as Han Solo. You know why?
because he's solo.
Because Darth Vader is better than Han Solo, and so is Leia, and so is Luke, and so is Yoda.
Okay. So you are trashing Solo now.
Now I am. Because you brought me to that.
Okay.
Alright, we're moving on. We're never going to agree. I don't like the name. I don't like how. It's not the name Solo, it's how he got the name Solo. You like it, whatever. We'll disagree. Fine, whatever. I don't like that there was a droid rebellion.
Okay.
There shouldn't have been a droid rebellion, and here's why. At the heart of it, droids are made by humans or by us, right? They are synthetic, right? It is harder to feel feelings for synthetic than it is for someone who is biological or organic or whatever the fancy term you want to use is. All right? I think instead of having the droid rebellion, and this is another thing with L3, I don't like L3. I think she should have been scrapped from the entire movie. I'm glad that she's dead, mostly. She's just kind of part of the ship, but she never says another line, so good.
She's the nav computer, so
Yeah.
that's fine.
Right? It should have been a Wookiee rebellion as opposed to a droid rebellion, because that's one of the first things Chewie talks about when you meet him is that he wants to save his people. And I feel like having two characters that want to do the exact same thing, you know,
That's true.
it feels kind of stupid having two characters who are trying to do the exact same thing. and having the one that represents a feminist actually getting the job done more or less.
It's true.
Compared to the Wookiee. I would have preferred a Wookiee rebellion. And Chewbacca saving all the people. And maybe Han helping him save those people. Something like Han going to save the people and then stopping and then going to help finish the mission. Kind of showing that, yes, he cares about Chewie, but he also cares about this mission just a little bit more. And then you can get character growth out of that in the future. He cares about the mission a little bit more, but Chewie still goes back and helps him.
Yeah.
I don't like...
We need to get you another table that you can tap instead of the one that the camera's on.
Am I keep doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Alright, please give me another table. I'll just do it to my knee.
No, you won't.
No, I won't. I'm going to hit this table.
Yeah.
Alright. The next thing I don't like is Han as a lovesick puppy. This is another one I think we disagree. Yeah. Alright, I don't think Han's motivation after leaving the Empire should have been, I gotta get to Kira.
There's no better reason to get back.
I don't think he should have wanted to get back. I think he should have just wanted to be a smuggler.
Alright.
Just wanted to fight the Empire.
Fight the Empire?
Yeah,
After joining it?
Well... Okay.
What's his motive? Well, okay, if... Let's just say Kira isn't in the picture at all. Well, he just wants to get out of there. What is his motivation to go to the Empire?
I don't say that he wants to just take Kira. Like, Kira's in the back of his mind at this point.
You know.
Like, I'm not saying, like, get rid of her, but just, like, that's in the back of his mind. And that his primary focus is getting out of the Empire. A side motivation should be hurting the Empire.
How do you do that without... If Kira is still in it, and so if I'm catching what you're saying, is that for the most part the beginning's the same. He wants to leave with Kira. She gets stuck behind. He ends up joining the Empire. He gets kicked out of the Empire. You're saying that his main motivation after he gets kicked out of the Empire is that he wants to get back at the Empire for kicking him out, rather than going back to save Kira.
A secondary motivation. Third motivation is Kira. Second is Empire. First is just finding a way to live. And he does that by joining Beckett. Change that. His primary motivation should be finding some sort of friends or family.
Why would he? He has no one.
Because he's not Solo. I don't know. I'm thinking on my feet here.
So you're saying that he should write in some sort of backstory where he has some family members that he thinks are out there somewhere that he can go find.
No, like Beckett becoming his family.
But what's his reason for finding them?
I don't know.
His only motive, based on the backstory that you're wanting right now, his only motivation while he's on Corellia is Kira. Until they decide to leave, Kira gets stuck behind. He joins the Empire. After he gets kicked out of the Empire.
3 years after he leaves Kira, by the way.
3 years after he leaves the Empire.
3 years after he leaves Kira.
Okay, 3 years after he leaves Kira, his only two motivations he's ever had. The Empire.
No, only two.
Okay, then what's his other motivation?
I'm thinking.
What motivation has he developed while on Corellia and in the Empire, aside from getting back at the Empire and finding Kira?
Okay, let me think.
And how can you explain all that without going into in-depth and possibly unnecessary backstory within the Empire? You can, and nothing else needs explained within the Empire in Solo by the motivation he already has.
Give me a moment.
Okay, while you're thinking, with the backstory that they did give us, I like it that Kira is betraying him rather than just dying. I was afraid of the fact that she was going to die in Solo, or maybe in the sequel, and then he was just going to be sad. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But the fact that she betrays him makes a lot more sense for his cynical attitude towards commitment and relationships and being Solo in Episode 4.
He always has Chewie. Okay,
all right, back to that. Han is not Solo in the fact that he doesn't want to be with anyone. His being Solo, he doesn't want anyone running his life. He's fine with partners, but not leaders.
That's fine.
Therefore, Solo. Solo as in independent, not Solo as in not needing anyone at all.
Okay, that's fine.
So therefore, it makes sense that he has no one to rely on.
Yeah, I'm not saying the name Solo is bad. It's how he got the name. He just went to an Imperial guy and was like, "You're Solo."
So you're saying it's fine that he earns the name Solo?
It's fine that he keeps the name Solo as he likes it, because as you're saying, he is independent over time. What I'm saying is I don't like that.
Tapping the table.
You're right. What I don't like is that he is the way he's given the name Solo.
Okay, while you're thinking about how a better motivation is, think of a better way that he can get the name. We're gonna be here a while. Starburst.
Okay, here's an idea. How about that's just his last name?
That is too much of an English word to be too coincidental. Because again, you just admitted, regardless of how he gets regardless of how he gets the name, you just agreed that the name Solo is fitting for Han Solo.
Yeah.
That's
I never said it wasn't.
I know, that's too coincidental for him to just be given that name at birth, and that's his family.
Why not? That's what we always thought it was, until this movie.
Because they had no other explanation.
Yeah, and this explanation isn't what I'm looking for. I think he should have just had a family. He should have had a mother.
Had a family of Solos that are conveniently always solo.
No. Have two parents that are together. I don't care. He just leaves because his girlfriend wants to leave, but his girlfriend doesn't end up leaving. Mm-hmm. So now he can't go back. So he has to move forward. He thinks on his feet.
So if she wants to leave and he doesn't, then why doesn't he go back?
Or maybe his family's super poor.
They're on Corellia. Everyone's poor.
Exactly. So they all want to make a better life for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe their parents can't. Maybe.
So his motivation is to get off the planet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not necessarily with Kira, but he wants to get off of it with Kira if it's possible. Well, yeah, if that's his love life, that should be his motivation. But after 3 years, it shouldn't have to be his motivation. He should move on after 3 years. That's what I'm trying to say with the whole love sick puppy. Is after 3 years, his main motivation, he should move on. And Kira should be in the back of his mind, and he should be focusing on other things.
Do you know how
that is what I'm trying.
Strong of a commitment and like a powerful bond you have, not only for a love, but a love that's lost? That is like the biggest motivation anyone can have in anything. You watch like the biggest, like the most committed people in any movie, almost like ever, it's for love. So the fact that like there's no way that you can make this without writing out Kira completely and have a reasonable reason for him not to want to get back to her after 3 years.
I'm just gonna agree to disagree.
Okay.
Crawl without a crawl.
Probably saved us about 15 minutes of show.
Fine,
time.
then just cut it out entirely.
No, we'll keep it in.
You have the editing power.
We'll keep it in.
This video is gonna be super long anyway, so you might as well have to cut it out.
The people need to hear this.
All right. There is a crawl, but there is no crawl. They basically just give one sentence of exposition that was unneeded, that you found out by just watching the movie. That like hyperfuel is expensive and rare. You watch the movie, you can tell hyperfuel is expensive and rare. Now you've wasted precious seconds of my life.
I can go along with that.
By putting in a sentence that was unnecessary. 10. Beckett's character. You've heard me say Beckett enough times now.
Mm-hmm.
He was a primary character in this point of Han's life, right? So the fact that when I think of this movie, Beckett is one of the last things I think about for the most part.
Again, that's a you problem.
Fine, that's a me problem.
Woody Harrelson's not easy to forget, regardless of what he's in.
Maybe, maybe not. Didn't really care for it. And maybe that could be part of one of my other points. Too many plot twists, and they were lazy and obvious. That probably brought down the character of Beckett.
Yeah, I can.
Because
see, I was okay. I was okay with the fact there were a lot of plot twists. I just didn't like they tried to make it seem like they were all plot twists. Mm-hmm. In that sort of lifestyle of like the smugglers, everyone's double crossing, triple crossing, quadruple crossing each other. That all makes sense. They're all a bunch of criminals. You can't trust anybody. But like basically every plot twist made sense that it would happen. But just the fact that like they do like the different like the angles of the camera and like the dramatic music to make it seem like it's a plot twist. Like when Kira kills Dryden at the end of it. Everyone saw that coming. You don't need to have a few seconds of suspense and like dramatic music to seem like, oh, is she gonna kill Han? Like, no, we're not gonna kill Han. Obviously, Khan's not gonna die, and we all know that she's gonna kill.
Did you just say Khan?
No, I said Han. Kill Han.
Okay.
Yeah.
Khan.
I mean, we all knew that was going to happen, and it's fine it was in it.
Is that their relationship name, Kira and Han? Are they going to be Khan? 4 hands inside 1 cookie jar.
Yeah.
You had, I think this was a part of the problem, too. Is, you get Han Solo funny sometimes, you get him super serious and down, and not just, like, as a character going through emotions, but, like, as the whole entire character. Just being, like, it's almost kind of like 2 separate characters. And it's because you had 4 people, like, messing with this movie. You had Kathleen Kennedy, who's producer. You had Lord and Miller, 2 separate people. Then Opie, Ron Howard,
yeah.
as the other one. And that's also another problem with this movie, financially, is that it's not going to reach as much potential, and we'll get into that in a different video. It's not going to have as much potential financially as it would have, because Kathleen Kennedy was like, oh yeah, I'm going to have these 2 people direct. Because whatever process she would have gone through to pick the director, apparently she must have messed up somewhere, because they weren't her vision for the movie, or she didn't trust them enough, or something happened. We don't know the clear story. And then she switches to Ron Howard. Maybe my guess is that Lord and Miller, wanted to make a movie that wasn't exactly what Kathleen Kennedy wanted, and they either, lied to her and said that they were going to make her type of movie, or they said they weren't going to make, they were going to make a certain type of movie. Kathleen Kennedy was like, okay, and then she changed her mind.
Yeah.
And then got Ron Howard. Justice League, I'm going to compare it to Justice League, because that had Zack Snyder, and then he bailed out, and then Joss Whedon took over. You couldn't really tell that it was 2 directors. It felt pretty cohesive throughout the entire movie. I'm not saying it was a great movie, but you couldn't tell that there were 2 people directing it. In this one, you can tell that there were 2, and in this case 3, but 2 of them are direct together all the time, so it's really 2 directors directing it. And that was a big problem with this one. Another one is I don't think you didn't show the cohesiveness of Beckett's gang throughout the movie. I think it would have been better if they would have had a montage, a short little montage, instead of that sentence about hyperfuel. Throwing a montage of Beckett's gang doing something. It wouldn't have been enough time, but do a little montage of the gang's adventures, and then
you're kind of undercutting Han's experience, Han and Chewie's experience. That really they've done 2 jobs in this whole movie, and granted, this is anywhere from 7 to 10 years before Episode 4. But big of an impact and inspiration as they're trying to make Beckett to be in this movie for Han, they really don't show much that happens. They do 2 jobs together, and then he ends up betraying him and he kills him. That doesn't really seem like much as far as a smuggling mentor. But he does, I think he does enough to be the closest thing to a mentor he has so far. But yeah, not many jobs kind of undercuts the fact that he's a smuggler now.
All right. One more that we don't agree on. I don't think, because my guess is that he made the Kessel Run in 12.4 parsecs, 12.5.
My guess would be 12.6 or 7.
Right. They made it in 12.6 or 7 parsecs. I originally thought it would be 18, but you were right. It should probably be more shouldn't be as far away. It's 18. I'm thinking more 15 maybe.
I could go with
15 parsecs, and then the whole idea is his legacy builds up as the guy who did 12 parsecs, and he's just it was 12 parsecs. And look at this ship, the Millennium Falcon. It's the greatest ship, and it is a hunk of junk. Everybody says it's a hunk of junk.
It is a hunk of junk, but it's a good hunk of junk.
It's an all right hunk of junk.
The Millennium Falcon is an amazing ship, no matter who's flying it.
It is a good ship, but Han makes it better with his piloting skills. Right? Under anybody else, it would be a less than decent ship.
And all of it was still a great ship when Lando was flying it, too.
That's because Lando's a good pilot. If it given to a good pilot, it can work decently to great.
The Millennium Falcon is a great ship, no matter who's flying it.
It's an iconic ship.
Okay, I'll give you that. It is a very good ship, no matter who's flying it, but it definitely makes it better when a good pilot is flying it. Because I mean, regardless, the Millennium Falcon is better than 99% of Corellian Space Raiders. Because that's what it is. But it has a bunch of upgrades to it that make it so much better. I mean, it has a cloaking device.
Yeah.
Nothing else has that.
I also had escape pods.
Mm-hmm. It had an escape pod.
Correct. All right. So yeah, 15 parsecs. I would have liked that better. Give the illusion, give a little bit to the illusion of Han Solo, as well as Han Solo character and then Han Solo character's character, like in the world of Star Wars, like as this underground smuggler, not necessarily a legend, but a guy who's like gaining some notoriety.
Mm-hmm.
And be like, oh, he's the dude who did it in 12 parsecs when actually he did it in like 15 or something. You know, make him seem less. Make him seem more.
Here's what they should have done.
Human,
they should have done it maybe 14 or 15. Maybe 14 because that's what Rey says in Episode 7. But what you do is, let's just say they started at 15. That he actually says that they actually make it in 15. But then in this one, he says they make it in 14 parsecs. Then in the sequel, at some point, he tells someone they made it in 13 or 12 parsecs. Because it's a fish story. And every time it gets smaller until eventually they stick with 12 because that's what everyone hears in Episode 4.
Yeah.
That would make more sense. I don't like if it was a jump from 15 to 12. That just seems like too much of an exaggeration. But the fact that it builds over time makes sense for a fish story.
All right, fine. So. I can go with you on that. All right. 13. Well, I don't know why I'm numbering it, but anyway, next one. Most of the humor fell flat. Like I said, I think that's because they switched directors, and I think Lord and Miller would have made it more funny. Ron Howard.
It was still moderately funny. But...
most of the humor fell flat. You had a few lines, but most of the vid, I'm like, they tried to be funny, and that line didn't go over with me personally. Maybe you thought it was a hilarious movie.
I didn't think it was hilarious, no.
Well,
I would not have considered it a comedy.
When I say you, I mean people watching.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Maybe you thought it was funny.
There were parts that made me legitimately laugh.
I chuckled a few times.
But yeah, it was not much more than a chuckle ever.
I chuckled a few times, but you can tell that they were going for laughs, and it really wasn't funny. Like one of the only... Oh, I'm using my toe now.
I mean, Star Wars has always tried to fit in a little bit of humor into the movie, and it didn't have much more than any other.
I also didn't like, once again, two directors. I think Lord and Miller directed, like, the train scene, probably. And I think I'm just going to call her Nest, because I can't think of the other name. Enfys. I'm never
Enfys.
I'm not going to remember that name.
Enfys Nest.
I'm not going to remember the name. Nest. Enfys Nest.
You remembered?
Yeah, because you just said it.
They don't know that. They don't know how much editing time is between the explanation and you saying Enfys Nest.
Enfys Nest.
Enfys Nest.
I'm going to infest you in your nest.
You remembered that it's Enfys Nest, though. If I say Enfys Nest enough times, you'll remember that the name of Enfys Nest, which is the leader of the group, actually, not the group Enfys Nest. Enfys Nest is the leader of the group called the Cloud Riders, which is kind of dumb. I think Enfys Nest would be a better name. You can come back now. What are you doing?
Trying to jump out the window.
Oh.
I hear the name Enfys Nest one more time.
You just said it.
Yeah, but from me.
Oh, gotcha. So if I say Enfys Nest one more time.
That's it, I'm done.
No, you're not.
That's it. Show's over. I'm dead.
Okay.
Alright, anyway. She was trying to kill Beckett on the train, and then later on, she didn't want to kill him. She wanted them to help. Alright, so I think that's all we got on this one. So, Adam, you'll do the honors.
Jelly Beans. Not a sponsor.
Why would Jelly Beans sponsor anything?
These are actually Starburst Jelly Beans, so Starburst, not a sponsor.
Okay, just give us the outro.
Alright. Well, yeah, again, that's all. We argued a lot. You probably weren't expecting that.
It's okay, I hate him.
I won most of the time.
That's unusual.
As usual.
That's unusual.
It's not. Actually.
I do not know which hill I want to die on, so I will fight to the end on all my arguments. You just got lucky because I got tired of fighting today.
And that's what he says every time when he loses, which is 90% of the time. So
it's like 20.
No.
You just say, let's agree to disagree, and then I win.
It's usually you who gives up first, but...
No, it isn't.
It is.
It's always you.
How about we just agree to disagree on that?
Okay. waiting for you to say that.
Yeah. I played along. So what happens after 12 plus years?
Anyway, give us the outro.
Jelly bean.
Your face is a jelly bean.
Not a sponsor.
Of course not.
Alright, so thanks for watching this video. And be sure to go watch Solo if you haven't. And if you've only seen it once, then watch it again. Because I would say it's a movie that I watched twice because I did.
I only watched once.
Well, I had family that hadn't seen it yet, so we went to go see it. And it wasn't bad the second time seeing it. So, like this video and be sure to subscribe to the channel. And head over to Facebook and like our Facebook page. Follow Brady at Mr. Brady Jones on Twitter. And remember to recommend the show to your family and friends and even your enemies. And until next time, it's Adam.
And Mr. Brady Jones.
Yep.
Adios.
Amigos.